What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, and the overall markets. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amounts of money, you're guaranteed 12 of free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. If you deposit $2,000 more, you're guaranteed 40. The offer ends very soon in just 3 days. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the broader markets. So just know, guys, that right now the market's in a very, very interesting position because we're starting to see some buyers trying to defend it. But the question now remains, what data is going to be coming out that's going to be affecting the markets? Well, what should we be watching for as time goes on? So just want to talk about all this before I break down more details. The first thing worth mentioning is when it comes to our economic data, today at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Dallas Fed manufacturing numbers coming out. And then at 11:30 a.m., we have the 2-year note auction and a couple of bill auctions as well. So look for some volatility at those times at 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 hour and 2 hours after market open. On top of this, there's also some more news right over here about how when you look at what's going on with our earnings, okay, on Monday we basically have had some earnings that came out, very, very minor ones. After market close, we have Ford announcing their earnings, so get ready for that, guys. That's going to be very interesting. So get ready for that volatility that's coming. For tomorrow, we have PayPal and AMD. For Wednesday, we have Microsoft, Meta, and a few more. And for Thursday, we have like Amazon, Apple, Intel, and a bunch of others. So big tech earnings start between Tuesday and Thursday. But for today, it's going to be quite minor just to start things off with Ford. Now, so something is a little bit different from what I was initially thinking about the broader markets. I was talking about the news involving Israel and Iran. And instead of us seeing a major amount of downside because of it, or even a little bit of a dip because of it before we start to see a bounce. The market just straight up gapped up and didn't really, seem to get that affected by it. So sometimes things like that could happen. So because I would say that Israel did not necessarily strike Iran's oil facilities, instead they went over some military facilities. That is what led to the market to be able to rebound instead of just seeing a much bigger drop. And I think that that is the main reason why. So I just want to call that out. The market's not necessarily getting as impacted by that news. So that's once again a sign that we're continuing to hold up. Now, I want to talk about something else that's very important. As the market's trying to hold up right now, we're going to be watching to see how things continue to develop. There's a lot of positive anticipation involving earnings, which is why the NASDAQ is up right now. And besides that, I didn't see anything else that's too crazy. I just wanted to say that there are some new lawsuits that are coming out involving CrowdStrike after what happened in July and a bunch of other things like that. But I didn't see anything that's too crazy on the news, at least thus far. I think there's just a lot of anticipation of earnings and such. So, what do I see for the markets? What is my personal prediction? Here's what I basically see happening. So, there's basically this range that's being developed on SPY right now. As we hit 577 to 575, we'd like to get bought back up here. This is like our demand zone. We start pushing up. And as we get closer to 585 to 584, we do tend to reject. So this is our range right now. This is our range that we're going to be watching for. As of right now, SPY is going to try to push a little higher. So look for a little bit of a push upon open. We could make our way back up towards these highs. But then once we get to them, if we can't get back above 586, the odds favor is kind of like popping, then dipping back down as time goes on back down to the trend line and to retest the 580 area as our support. So look for a little bit more upside upon open, then we could dip later on during the day. But as of right now, make sure you watch this range on SPY. We're going to be looking at our first resistance at 582.5. If we break that, we're looking for 584 as our next potential target, then just under 586 if that breaks. Our support to watch for is going to be at 580.8, followed by 579.63. Look for a little bit more upside, and then we'll see if we get a rejection off 584. So watch and see how things end up moving. But there is more upside potential in this chart nonetheless. For ES, we're also range bound. We have 58 20 is our support. Then we have 5,900 as our resistance. We're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then today we saw this little gap up move. So we're looking for a little bit more upside on ES. We could get closer to 5,890 to 5,900, a little bit higher. And then once we get to this resistance in the 5,900s or the low 5,900s, we're looking for a dip back down towards the 5,860 area. So look for a little bit more upside towards this resistance and a dip back down, and we're just going to continue to remain range bound for the time being. We'll be watching to see what kind of reaction we get at least as time goes on. On top of this, As far as Nvidia goes, we're attempting to push a little higher. Just know that as of right now, we have a range between 144 and 140. When we hit 140, we like to get bought back up. When we hit 144, we like to reject. But if we break 144, we're looking for another push for 146 as our next potential target, and even above that. So for now, look for a little bit of a push close to 144. We do tend to reject once we get there, so be careful. Then we could be dipping back down to about 141 if we don't break past 144. But if we break 144, we'll turn more bullish. So watch a big test right over there to see if you reject or not. But as of right now, Nvidia is going to push just a bit. Bitcoin has a double bottom. It dipped to our target. We got this on we were basically correct about this at this 67,500 area, but instead of dipping through this, we actually bounced off this to push back up towards 69,000. So look for more upside for 69,000 to 69,200, and we'll have to see how things end up going from there. For Tesla, we're looking more bullish. We'll have to see if we could hold above 270 or not. If we hold above 270, I'm looking for 272, 275, and then 278 as our potential targets. If 270 fails us, we could be tipping back down to 268 and then 265 to 262. Tesla's going to shuffle at 270, but it might attempt to break this if we could hold above 270 for at least 4 hours. I think there's going to be more upside. As of right now, it's holding up, but just be careful. It's a tough resistance. So we'll see how well Tesla does. NQ is breaking out right now because there's a lot of positive anticipation involving earnings. The Israel news is not affecting us as much, so we could be looking for 20,800 as our target. If we break past 20,700, if we lose 20,500, we're looking for a bigger tip back down to the 20,300s. But this remains a little bit more bullish. Look for a test of 20,700 very soon. And if we break this, we're looking for a bigger push for 20,800. For the QQQ, we look more bullish as long as we don't lose 496. We're looking for 500 and 502 as our targets. If we lose 496, we're looking for 494. But this is favoring 500 and 502. This has more upside potential, so give this the time that it needs. For Aapl, we look a little bit more bullish. If we end up losing 231.5, we're looking for a dip back down to 230. As long as we hold above 230, we're looking for a push this imbalance towards 234, not to mention 235. So hold above 231.5 to 232, and I favor 235, and this has potential so far. For others out there, let me go over just real quick. The IWM, this is holding up nicely. We actually bounced off our 200 EMA. I said if we lost this, we turn bearish. If we hold this, we're going to rebound. We're holding this nicely, so we're looking for 221 as our resistance. If we break that, we're looking for 222. For AMD, we look a little bit more bullish now. We actually held support instead of dipping, below it. So as long as we don't lose 156, this is favoring a pushback up to 160. For ARM, we have a gap to fill below. It might be testing 145.62. If it breaks, we're looking for 147.36. We'll have to see if that breaks. It's a tough resistance. To me, it looks like it might dip a bit to 143, then try to bounce. For coin, we got this almost correct. So it did dip to about 203. I was talking about 200 to 199 coming before it tries to bounce. It came a little bit short of that. Now it's attempting to rebound. So as long as we don't lose 207 at this point, we're favoring a push for 215, and then above that, it's about 217. So it looks a little bit more bullish. For Amazon, as long as we don't lose 188, we're favoring a push back up to 190, then eventually 192. So this has more upside potential. For Meta, as long as we don't lose 574, we're looking for a push back up towards 585. So we'll have to see if we continue to push from here. For Microsoft, we look more bullish. We're basically looking for 432.5 as our target. As long as we don't lose 430, I'm looking for this imbalance fill for 434. And then Google is also looking more bullish. As long as we don't lose 170, I'm favoring that this is looking like an inverse head and shoulders now. And the bulls are back, guys. We're looking for basically 172 as our target. So the bulls are back. The bulls are pushing the market higher. There is more upside potential for now. But just be careful because there is a range on SPY right now and also for the broader markets. So I'll be watching these ranges very carefully before anything else. With that being said, I thank you all for listening. Please have a great day. I'll be back with another update in just about a couple of hours. Until then, I appreciate you guys for your attention and peace out.